Welcome back, Year 9. We are now into our third lesson of this half term, continuing on from the Suffragists' last lesson. First thing, we've got part of a picture on our screen. I want you thinking, what's in the rest of it? What is happening here? What can you see? And then what could be here? What could be in the top right, bottom left, top left? Pause the video, have a think about it. This is what we can see. Again, pause the video. What have you noticed? What do you think this is going on, and what this might suggest to us about the movement for the votes for women? I'm going to talk you through it though. What you can see here is actually a horse. So you've got a horse that has fallen over. And this is the bit we saw before. It is a woman. She has fallen and looks, and in reality did, get hit by the horse and has fallen because of that. And that is her hat just there. Now what you've noticed also in the background is all these people stood behind this sort of barricade. So this is actually a horse race. We're in the middle of the sort of national horse race that was going on. And this was actually happening in 1913. And if we look at all these people in the background, a bit blurry, but they're all wearing hats, suits, dresses. These are obviously quite wealthy people out for a day out to watch the horses. So what has just happened? Well, actually, this woman is called Emily Davison. And she ran out in front of the horse itself and was killed in this moment. And she was called a suffragette. And she was another group, like the suffragists, who were pursuing change and fighting for the rights for women to vote. It's a bit debated on what she was intending on doing, and whether she intended to kill herself or whether she intended to hold up a banner that said votes for women and attach it, or a flag, and attach it to the horse. And that is because this horse was specifically selected. And that is because it was the king's horse, George V's horse. So she wanted to make it seem, perhaps, that the king was supporting suffragette movement, or at least raise attention towards it. If you're interested in this, do some research on it, find out a little bit more about it. Next up, bit of a quiz. I'm going to show you the questions on here, bit of retrieval practice from last lesson, but on the worksheet that is going to be part of your assignment, these questions are on there itself, so you can just do them when you start working your way through the worksheet. I will just flip through them so you can see what they are now. Right, today we're thinking about suffragettes, and we're thinking about how did they accelerate women's pursuit of the vote, and how did they use potentially violence to help accelerate that. These are some images of note and of importance from the suffragettes. This is Emmeline Pankhurst, and she was the leader. So Millicent Fawcett was the suffragists, Emmeline Pankhurst was the suffragettes, and they believed in more violent action and direct action to try and help gain attention, but also to make changes. Your teacher will have posted 2 videos for you to watch. I want you to watch those 2 videos. Either pause this video and watch them both now, if you can, or if you can't, just keep watching this video, and at the end, watch those 2 videos before you do the work. If you're interested in these images, try and look up and do a bit of research about what they are. So your first task after you've done those, it's reading the information on the next page. This. I want you to write down on the worksheet or in your book if you're using that, any notes on these 3 ideas. Either the aims of the suffragettes, the actions of the suffragettes, and the outcomes, so the impact of the suffragettes. We take an example. and pick this first top left one. It says in 1910, 300 women were sent to protest, and 200 were assaulted when they attempted to run past the police. Women were kicked to the ground, punched, and 119 arrested. Afterwards, the Prime Minister's car was vandalised. So if we take aims, doesn't necessarily say anything about their aims. So we could leave that one for now. Actions. Well, it says they protested. It said they attempted to run past the police. And that they vandalised the Prime Minister's car. So we can see some of their actions just there. Outcomes? Well, we can see that they were treated violently. They were kicked to the ground, punched, and many were arrested. So we could make some notes under actions and outcomes. When you've done that, 2 optional challenges. Like you did in Suffragettes lesson, make your own suffragette protest banner. How would it be different to the one you did before? Think about how the actions and how the outcomes were maybe slightly different. And secondly, you could write a speech as if you were Emmeline Pankhurst. What would she say? What would she do to kind of try and persuade women to join the suffragette protest? All of these are on the worksheet as well. These are just some ideas to help you for your banner. Might you take some of these as inspiration to guide your phrases, images, whatever. And finally, back to our sort of overall thinking about why women gained the vote. So it's about causes, so we need to think about the different types of causes. We've got, were the suffragettes the root cause, so that foundation again? Were they actually accelerators? Did they help speed up the process of getting the vote? Or were they the trigger? Did they finally make women gain the vote all of a sudden? What do you think? And that's because it's a reminder that our inquiry is all about the causes, the reasons for women gaining the vote. And was it violence? One final sort of end plenary. This is what it says on Emily Davison's gravestone. She was the one who was killed by the horse at the very start of the lesson. So if you're imagining another suffragette's gravestone, what would their motto be? What would the phrase be that they would want to encapsulate their life, their ambitions, their aims? And that's the final thing I want you to do today. Well done, and keep up the good work.